Hello, everyone, and welcome to this week's edition of What Should We Watch? A podcast that delves into
Wait, did we start?
Are you kidding me? Are you serious? Did we start?
Sorry, I was just... Hey.
I was trying to tell them what we're going to do.
Oh, well, don't let me stop you. Go ahead.
Don't let me stop you. Why don't you show up on time? We had this time scheduled. No, the podcast is not about arguing whether or not somebody didn't look at the calendar. This podcast is about what all married couples do.
I was getting ready to go.
Which is, what do all married couples do? That's your line.
What all married couples do, you know what they do.
No, stop. There might be children watching. What all married couples do. Or any couples, married or not.
That's what I was talking
about. In general. You don't even have to be married to do it.
What were you thinking about?
What are you thinking about?
Watching movies.
Well, yeah.
Come on. Get your head out of the bathroom.
Gutter, don't try to make new ones up. All right. Let's just get to the point. Every episode, we're going to sit down, we're going to watch a movie, we're going to introduce the movie, give our first impressions of it, go over a few details, move into a few segments such as I hate when they fight and were you paying attention, and give you an overall impression, hoping that you all take it and go out and see the movie, whether it's a new release or a classic.
And I'm Kay.
I'm E.
And for this week, I get to pick the movie, and we're about to head out to go see the summer blockbuster of 2019.
A little premature.
Avengers Endgame. Burr, 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 burr.
And on that off-tune note, we're going to go check out the movie. If you'd like to pause the podcast now, run to your local cinema, grab some popcorn, and sit down and watch the movie, feel free to pause us and then pick it back up when you're done.
All right. See you later. All right, we're back.
Woo!
That was awesome. So we just left the theater, and I would say, it definitely is an emotional movie.
I didn't really feel that emotional.
Really?
With it. No, I just feel more satisfied with the movie.
Definitely.
Like, I didn't feel like I did with Infinity Wars, where I was like, I don't know what to do with myself. Everything got wrapped up in a nice, neat little bow.
Yeah.
Not a neat little bow. Maybe not even a bow. Maybe some duct tape, bubble gum, and a prayer.
But before we start, spoilers for everybody who's going to listen to this that hasn't seen the movie.
I hope they know their spoilers.
Yeah, we're going to be talking all about the movies. So if you haven't seen it, don't want spoiled, don't listen to this yet. Listen after.
You ready for the peanut gallery, Kay?
Let's do it.
All right, so the one thing after, of course, in any movie, sitting through a plethora of commercials and previews, we just jumped right in.
Yeah, I looked at you in the theater
and
I thought, is this it? Because you see Hawkeye first thing.
With his family.
Jeremy Renner, staying there with his family, and I was questioning, is
what
this
was the
trailer?
ankle bracelet for? Did you catch that?
That is from Civil War. Remember, everybody that was on
they got
Captain
tagged.
America side, they got tagged. So that's why he was on the farm. That's where he was being house arrested.
I think it was just because of the backlash of him not being in Infinity War. So they're like, well, there's quite a few things in this movie that we 100% felt where the studio's like, we're sorry. And you didn't get Hawkeye? Whoopsh, here's Hawkeye.
They probably went through every comment ever and were like, we're filling this plot hole right now. We're fixing this up right here.
Just slapping, what is that weird tape that they sold on Shark Tank that the guy's like, I'm on a boat made out of a screen door. They're just slapping all that. Slaps it on. No, but I thought that was really effective because it did pick up right where the movie ended.
Mm-hmm.
And, of course, his family all gets dusted away.
It was really sad, and they did an excellent job of setting up his character who was missing from Infinity Wars. That was super vital to his character for the rest of the movie.
Yeah, of course. But I mean, the whole thing quickly, through that opening scene, it started to not unravel, but it started to unfold really quick. Because next thing you know, through Captain Marvel's glowing ball of goodness, she brings Tony Stark and Nebula back down. Which, I will say, do you think Nebula would have died in space? Because, they're running out of oxygen and Tony's, like, on his last leg.
Right.
But would she have died?
She's like an android cyborg robot thing. So, I don't know. She passed Tony that food, maybe referring to
she was eating
eat a whole lot, but she does. Yeah.
We could be here forever. That's the mystery. That's the true mystery of this movie. Would Nebula have died?
The next thing that happened, I don't know how I feel about it, was
about what?
How they found Thanos. So, my take on Thanos is, in Infinity Wars, they played him off as a wonderful character, beautiful arc. But in this movie, when they found him, they did a great job of finding that character.
Yeah. What's wrong with that?
They found him.
Well,
they talked to him and they found him.
Save it. Spoiler alert for the podcast. That is our fight segment. Don't give it away.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that.
We're going to talk about that. But it really quickly turned into, let's go get the stones from Thanos. We found him. He used them. And I was thinking to myself, okay, so...
At the end of the movie?
Were we done? Like 30 minutes? Haha, screw you. You waited how long?
That'd be the best thing if they just did that. But when the 5 years pass and you get introduced to, like,
well, of course,
5 years later,
when they go and find Thanos, he's destroyed the stones. Thor gets mad and slice and dice. I aim for the head this time. And then like you said, 5 years later, I was surprised when the screen turns black and it goes 5 years later. I mean, I'm not a fan of not that I'm not a fan of the comics, but I haven't read them. So I was like, oh, so this is the workaround. Instead of roll credits, Thanos is dead, we have, which is kind of interesting that they chose to do that.
Post-apocalyptic.
Yeah.
Well, the Infinity Gauntlet series, this isn't how it goes. Endgame isn't part of that. Endgame is actually pretty much its own creation by the Russo brothers. It
allows all of our characters I mean, we've had 11 years, 20-something movies, something
22
crazy.
movies.
Yeah, so it allows, I think, a huge, not even another arc, but maybe like a dip within all these characters. Because we have, Captain America's a grief counselor?
That makes sense.
Does it?
Yeah.
I don't know. I wasn't buying it.
I would let Steve Rogers hold
Although,
me.
the person I wasn't buying was this Rolk, brainy Hulk character. He kind of annoyed me.
Yeah, dab on him, yeah.
Yeah, no, he kind of annoyed me. So, if you haven't seen the movie, if you're not going to see the movie, if you do, it's somehow Bruce Banner makes an agreement with the Hulk, so they're kind of coexisting now.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe they're, co-parenting or something.
Co-parenting the
So he's large
existence.
And he's green, but he's also Bruce, but he's got this newfound confidence that I'll be honest, I wasn't here for it.
Mm-hmm.
But you know who I was here for?
Yeah.
The dude Thor.
Yeah.
Oh my. First of all, when he first comes into the shot, it's like a close-up, and he has his long hair back, and I was like, yes, they brought his hair back. And then it pans down to the beer gut, and I'm like, no and yes, so all at beautiful. The same time. But no, I also thought that, and you can agree, because we've pointed out in other movies, there's a lot of unnecessary shirtless Thor scenes.
Mm-hmm.
So I think this might have been very self-aware.
It's so true. They probably were like, you want to see Thor? Here he is.
I know.
Full glory. I did like the whole New Asgard where they wrapped up that whole...
This is what happened. And they brought back, again, Valkyrie. Mm-hmm. Everybody's like, where was she?
Calm your tea kettle.
But no, I had the dude Thor. Probably my favorite character. Probably. And then, of course, do you really think Fortnite would have survived?
I don't want to talk about Fortnite. That is the apocalypse.
Yeah, but it was clearly still there after Thanos dusted half the universe.
Gross. There was a quick Easter egg when they were having their little roundabout meeting. They were talking about, like, near Wakanda, there was some vibrations underneath the water. That was a reference to Namor, who's the Marvel Universe equivalent to Aquaman. I don't know who came first, but we're probably going to see him in a future MCU movie.
Right, when they're trying to make more money.
But
we'll poor Tony. You knew there was dark times. He's a kid, which they said 5 years later. That was an advanced 5-year-old.
Yeah.
So how quick...
If she was 5. You were saying how she was...
Well, yeah, once you do the math, so when when Tony comes back, he's this very thin, frail person, highly CGI'd. That's why they waited this long for this movie, because they needed the CGI. And next thing you know, 5 years later, he has this daughter, Morgan. Is her name Morgan?
Mm-hmm.
Do you think she's going to be an Iron Man?
Maybe.
Probably. Cash cow. But she's pretty advanced, so I'm pretty sure if your body goes into starvation mode and you've been lost in space for 20 days, I don't think the reproductive system is functioning at its highest capacity. So how did they copulate, make the child, and make her as advanced as she was 5 years? Unless, was Pepper pregnant before they left?
Yeah, might not be Tony's baby. Who knows? Oh, scandal.
Yeah, because he was gone.
But
she's a cute kid, though.
They had enough plots going on in this movie. They didn't need to throw that one
I know,
in.
but she was cute. And that whole comment about your mother, she brings, like, the Iron Woman helmet out, and he's like, your mother never wears anything I make her. And then fast forward.
Yeah.
So we have Cap the Counselor, Bruce Hulk, kind of douchey, little douchey Hulk.
Professor Hulk is what they want him to be acknowledged as in this movie.
I don't like him. Not Scarlett Johansson, her character.
Yeah.
Black Widow had that odd dye job where she was like, I need to dye my roots, but I don't care anymore. And she can't clean. Like, the place was a mess, and she likes peanut butter sandwiches, and she's just hologram texting and FaceTiming with the other characters who are like, you're from space, go back to space. Mm-hmm. We don't know what to do with you in 5 years.
And then the dude Thor. When they did decide the idea that time travel is possible, I love
but the whole just happy dumb luck of the rat stepping on the time machine to zap the Ant-Man back.
Yeah. So I don't know how I felt about all of that kind of just working out. I don't get how Tony knows all these things about engineering.
He's smart.
But Bruce Banner pointed out, this isn't my area of expertise. Maybe Tony's area of expertise isn't time travel and quantum mechanics either.
Yeah, but he's also very stubborn, very inquisitive, and wants to mess with it. Like, he couldn't leave it alone, because when they tell him, like, we're going to do this, and he said, back off, I have a good, happy ending.
Right.
Of course.
I do like how they played into Tony's constant need. He did realize he had everything, but he always had this constant need that he needed to continue to protect. And he had the guilt about Peter, yeah.
Well, he had the guilt about Peter. He had the guilt about New York. He was probably the saddest arc because he had his happily ever after.
Oh, yeah, we didn't really talk about
Although
him.
I knew as soon as he had that little girl, I was like, you know what? Not happening.
I love you 3000. Oh, hurts your heart.
I know.
So
Damn
lovely.
You, Marvel. But I kind of got that same feeling too. They're like, we're gonna go back in time, minus a few flubs, which, you know, the whole reminiscing over reshoots.
Mm-hmm.
And that was kind of a good little nostalgic moment where you saw all your favorite scenes, and then they went even a little bit further. Like, here's the end. We captured Loki. Now it's down to the brass tacks of after Infinity, or not with Avengers, the first Avengers movie. We go back to New York to get the Infinity Stones. But it was interesting. There were so many moments in this movie where, like in the beginning with Thanos, and they went after him and they killed him. I was like, okay, that's not the big plot. Like, I kept waiting for the big plot to kick in. And I thought, all right, it's going to be going back in time, and they're going to have problems getting the stones, but they don't. So it was interesting that it was almost
like... they had
like
a few little hiccups, but for the most part, things work out for
Loki
them.
just picking it up and zipping away the
that
Tesseract.
Everything about that scene with the original Avengers movie was fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
I love the one-liners, like when Tony says to Ant-Man, oh, you're just going to cause a little heart arrhythmia, when he was essentially...
Oh, because that was when the little...
causing, like, VTAC or something.
Yeah.
But one of the best lines in the movie, when Captain America fights his past self, Ant-Man had pointed out earlier...
The costume, or his outfit did nothing for him.
Or it was Tony that said that...
Yeah.
That it did nothing for him. And then Ant-Man, I believe, is the one who said, that's America's butt.
Yeah.
And then Captain America looks at his passed out body...
It was like, that is America's ass.
I love that.
That was good.
Fantastic.
And I think this movie had a good balance of the humor. So even with the dude Thor, there was humor there, but you know deep down he was hurting because of Thanos. It wasn't some of the other movies, there was too many quibs in there.
Yeah.
Like the second Avengers, I thought like with a couple of the lines there was in there, but this was a good balance.
And the problem with that was Ultron as a character is very quibby.
Yeah.
So I feel like that movie did.
But we haven't watched that movie to talk about.
Oh, yeah.
But I think with this movie, you knew that this was the last time with some of these characters.
Mm-hmm.
But they had a good balance. They had a good balance of the humor and the nostalgia. But I did think it was all... I know a lot of people felt anxious during this movie. I didn't feel anxious in the sense of like who's going to die, who's going to win. It was more like they are hiding something.
Yeah,
there's something big going to happen. But the one part that I found interesting is when they send Nat and Hawkeye to go get the Soul Stone. Mm-hmm. Number one, did they not know? Like, didn't they know? No, none of them were with them.
Knew. All they knew is Gamora didn't come back. That's what Nebula say. Gamora didn't come back.
But Nebula.
After he's...
But didn't they explain it? Like, shouldn't Tony even like BT Dubs? Let's bring somebody else. But I guess
right. They didn't really think about it. But that was kind of a little bit of a quibby scene where they had that. I don't think we're talking about the same person when they were referring to who's going to make the sacrifice.
Can I tell you what I mean?
And I was excited as soon as they said that because I was like, great, they're going to have a Hawkeye Black Widow fight. Something
that's not what I
small,
thought
minor.
all.
And they've played off of those fights throughout the whole series where they want to give you those heroes fighting each other, but you knew it was going to be out of love. But it was such a great little sequence of them.
That's not, you know what I thought when they were going back and forth?
Mm-hmm.
I was like, these are both like highly trained assassin spies. I thought they were going to like trying to chuck the Red Skull. I thought they were going to go for him. I'm like, all right, turn on him, loophole.
You'd be like, it doesn't count.
No, I
you
thought...
don't love me.
But if you had to say, here's $50 million, pick who you think, spoiler alert coming, who's going to die in this movie, I never would have picked Black Widow. Because she ends up sacrificing herself for the Soul Stone. I didn't see that coming at all.
Yeah.
Like when they started fighting, when they started fighting, I kind of thought, well, Hawkeye really did lose his family, and I think she would sacrifice for him. But before, I was like, nope, they're going to find a loophole. They're going to both walk out of here. Wait, what?
With that, they did play off the whole idea of their relationship that they've had previously. One of the things leaving the movie, I felt like they didn't really give her a big send-off, but thinking about it some more, what they did do is they just played off the emotion of the first movie, because if you think about it, they used the same exact music. It like mirrored that scene almost exactly.
There was more blood though.
And there was a lot more
because
blood.
with Gamora you didn't see any, with her you did. I thought that was interesting.
They're different species, so maybe it's...
Oh, naturally. Maybe Gamora's blood is clear because she's green.
Maybe.
That'd be an interesting one. But I really liked how they paired Rocket and Thor, and he got to go back, and he got to see his mom.
Yeah.
Oh, and I loved that whole scene. You know, that was kind of his redemption. Not redemption through actions, but through, like, thoughts and, you know, speaking and coming to grips with who he is. But I just loved how his mom knew that wasn't him. Which, first of all, you just saw your Thor godson walking around with six-packs and hair, and all of a sudden he has a different colored eye, beer gut, and dreads. Which, where did he get all those gloves? The fingerless gloves. Like, that was his thing. If you notice, like, in every scene he was wearing the fingerless gloves. Loves those. He's like, these are great. I can eat my snacks and play Fortnite.
Yeah.
But I loved how his mom was like, I know you're not from this time. And she wasn't. She's just like, it's just nice to see you.
Yeah, you just need your mommy sometimes.
Sometimes you just need your mommy. Sometimes that mommy happens to be a butt-kicking Asgardian Viking queen. But it was neat because I thought all of those scenes where they went back, it was four-dimensional in those arcs where you got to see, like, what was going on. But
right. There was the idea of Back to the Future idea where seeing people from the past and realizing things about yourself. That's what Marty McFly does in Back to the Future.
Yeah.
And they also did that for many of the characters.
Yeah.
And it made them realize who they are, what they do need to do now, especially the original six.
True.
the Tony Stark does that with his father, and that's a great scene where he bumps
Oh,
into his
it's
dad. He doesn't do the
wonderful.
cliche like tell him what he should name his son. He just says to him, "Do what you think you should do," because he's basically telling him that moment, "I love you, and I wouldn't want anything different."
Because they had an estranged relationship, but because now we get, if we talk about the scene with Star-Lord, when they go back to get the Mind Stone, does he have the Mind Stone, the Purple Stone?
Or the Power Stone.
The Power Stone, which is great. I love that take on that scene from the original Guardians of the Galaxy, because he's singing to himself, and they're like, he's an idiot. But, because this is where things start to break down, I was like, oh, now we're actually watching Endgames. Because Nebula is there in the sequence where she is also in that vicinity, and that's how they're able to figure out, this is where the big conflict comes in. So future Nebula and past Nebula are in the same area, so they're able to, like, through some sort of mumbo jumbo science mind, they're picking up each other's frequencies.
That's what made me think maybe they didn't go back with the right people to the right times. I mean, I think it did have to be those people. But Nebula really doesn't
love anybody, so
right, that would have been
that wouldn't have worked.
Yeah, I guess it had to be those people, but
because she
like
even
was
says,
going to New York at that point in the battle, like took the risk of.
But it was the most confusing part. People wouldn't have seen them.
That's true. So
there's
it was
that.
Probably the best part.
And
best
they knew
time.
exactly, like, they knew how it was going to end. So I don't think they were wrong
and
to go
knew
back.
Where they were going to be. That's true.
But I mean, were they wrong? How would they have predicted that Nebula's past and future self's frequencies would interfere?
Right. That was totally. I wouldn't say it was a plot hole thing. It was an interesting, like, this is a weird coincidental fact, but that little fact made it so the rest of the movie happened.
Yeah.
If that didn't happen, everything would have went smoothly, but because of that little thing.
Much shorter. Because that way, Nebula gets captured, and that's how Thanos, past Thanos, angry, destructive, I gotta get my stones, Thanos, gets looped in. But how do they get back in time? Like, how do they get back to the future?
I don't know how Nebula gets them over. You see her messing with the controls and she moves them over. But when they do destroy the whole building and they're going about, they did a quick little nod to the comics where Nebula's the one who finds the glove. When she...
Oh, yeah, because they switched.
The good Nebula is still with Thanos. The bad Nebula went back.
So, the nod where she picks up the glove.
Yeah, because in the comic Infinity Gauntlet, she ends up getting the glove from Thanos, and it becomes a big deal because she's kind of bad, so she's like, ha ha ha, now I'll be the ruler. And between Thanos and Adam Warlock, they end up deciding or figuring out a way to get it off of her, and it ends up getting in the hands of, like, Thanos is about to get it back, but it ends up in the hands of Warlock. And that's how that ends.
So it was kind of, because, I mean, there's no way they were going to do that in this movie, so that was nice. But that whole series was really, when he shoots up the building, I thought Ant-Man was dead. Because they walk out there like, did it work? Because who snaps?
Oh, the Hulk. Which, that's so important because it really had to be the Hulk that snapped his fingers.
Okay.
Because they explained he is the most likely to survive. Although I kind of wonder... Was Thor, like, the most worthy, as he said?
I don't know. He was drunk. But you know what they always say? It's an unfortunate statistic where if a drunk gets in an accident, they survive. So they might as well slap the...
He wouldn't have hurt himself because he would have just stayed loose through the whole thing.
Right? It'd be like, the dude, what? Our dog to her is being...
She has something to say.
She does nothing to say. What
do
you want? You didn't see the movie? Settle your tea kettle. Because we're getting to the good parts. Well, it was pretty much all good. Because this is where everything starts to go real quick. So Thor snaps his finger. Or not Thor, I'm sorry. Hulk snaps his fingers. Professor Hulk. But I thought it was really well done because, I mean... Oh, no, the phone rings. Oh, be still my heart.
That was cute when...
Hawkeye's phone
the birds
rings.
Come back and
well, was it the phone? The phone rings first, and it's Hawkeye's wife who was dust to dust, and then, she comes back. Now, do you want out of the room now? She's so indecisive, our doctor. But then when I thought it was really neat how very well done when Ant-Man walks out and there's just the birds, and you didn't think like he got rid of half of everything. I thought
all
he was
living
dead, though.
creatures.
When that first shot came through, I was like, they just were ripping the Band-Aid off of who dies, and y'all didn't have money on Black Widow, and I bet you didn't have money on Ant-Man.
Right?
Toast.
Everyone dead.
Everyone dead.
I was so sad when Rocket was like, I can't breathe.
I know. I was like, please don't kill Rocket.
Right.
And then they all, like, which, first of all, and then jumping ahead to the epic battle, I really think Thanos' goons went to the same school and training that stormtroopers did. You couldn't have killed any of them? Like, part of me, when that scene happened, they blow up the Avengers hub or whatever you want to call it, and they all survived, I was like, really? Not only are you shooting blast lasers out of this giant spaceship, but you're also having a giant building fall on you, and you couldn't kill anybody. There's probably some poor janitor like, oh, well, here we go.
G's of the Avengers
Goodness.
headquarters.
Yeah,
He's toast.
but from there, it was just a sprint, a literal sprint to the end.
It seriously was.
Well, though Thanos didn't sprint, he just sat down and chilled.
That
He
was
thought
so
he
cool
had
when
it.
he said, I'm just going to wait. That was such a good play off his character, which I did love.
Because he knew the gauntlet, he knew the new gauntlet, he knew
Right.
the stones were there, so just make everybody do his bidding.
Right. And that's what he's done this whole series. He sent other people to get the stones. And
Sure.
finally he said, I'll do it myself at the end of the one credit scene. I forget which movie it was in when he said that.
I don't remember that one.
He does get all his crew together, and it's awesome what they did with having
The three.
Thor, Cap, and Iron Man
I thought that was
being
very
the three
fitting.
to face him at first. And they were, I love how creepy it was at the beginning where they woke up Cap and they pointed out he's just standing there. He's just sitting there. He hasn't moved. Like,
You know,
we're not sure.
one of them said,
And
like,
he
this
sees
is
them,
a trap.
and they see him. Yeah. So they all go down there. At this point, Thor, when he was back in the past, he got Mjolnir back.
Oh, yeah, when he saw his mom.
And it was awesome when he had both.
For the people that aren't utter nerds, explain what that is.
Oh, Mjolnir is his...
The hammer.
Hammer.
For layman's term,
Hammer time.
he got his hammer back.
And then he has his new hammer, which I can't remember the name of right now. The axe hammer.
Stormbreaker.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, look at you.
Whoop, whoop, on the board.
Nerd.
But that was an epic fight.
That was a
an epic
great fight, and it was awesome when Thor was on the ropes about to go, and you see the hammer start to wiggle.
goes.
And I thought it was just the hammer, like, had a will of its own. It was
Yeah,
trying
it's
to
like, I'm
protect
coming
Thor.
for you.
But they went with Cap was worthy.
And that was, again, well-timed, well-placed Thor's I knew it line.
Mhm.
Like, they did everything in this
I
movie
knew it.
was really a good balance of the little one-liners, the tugs at your heartstrings. But I thought it was, when it was just Cap and Thanos for the stand down, and then all of the army, I got chills. I was like, this is it. Like, I didn't think what was going to come next. I was like, well, he's going to go out swinging, and he was the first Avenger. And then it was on your left.
Yeah. I still...
Was it Bucky or Sam?
When Cap's intercom came on, well, when they started fighting Thanos, that's when I realized, because Bruce had snapped his fingers at that point, and he was injured from using the Infinity Gauntlet. But during that fight, I did have the realization, everybody's back, and I realized,
I didn't.
oh, Doctor Strange is going to warp them all in.
I wasn't expecting
He's
that.
going to somehow be able to communicate to everybody. We need this. And everybody was hoping for this in this movie, because they had that sequence in Infinity Wars where there was the two different groups fighting Thanos, the last ditch
Wakanda,
effort,
right?
Wakanda fight, and the battle on Titan. But what I loved about this one was it truly was everybody.
Oh, it was so... I'll admit, like...
But I love who... I don't know who said something to him first. I want to say it was Bucky.
I want to say it's
was
Bucky.
the first person who said, hey, Cap, but then Sam said, on your left, because that is their joke.
Yeah.
It was definitely Sam saying that, and I think that's important that it was him saying that.
It was so good. And then all the little, like, as Spider-Man says, all the little swirkly thingies showed up and we got all zapped here. But I will admit, That's the moment that made me want to, like, get all the feels out. Because it's just like, oh my God, they're all here. And this is really it. Like, they have nothing left to lose. Like, they already lost so much. And now they're like, no, we know what we need to do. And that was, I thought it would be overwhelming. Because it's thousands of CGI'd people. But it was a good fight scene. Like, it didn't feel...
When it was realized with the Avenger films that they were going to end with this, that has always been the discussion. Is it going to be too much?
I didn't think it was. Once? It was a good...
And they did such a great job of, in that moment, showing the relationship between all the characters and giving quick little nods just in, like, milliseconds with each one. And you felt emotional about each person. Like, when Black Panther comes through and how he's standing there, it got a verbal response from the theater.
Yeah, it was good.
Of course, when Spidey flies through
and then all the Guardians come back and...
Yeah, and the Asgardians are all there.
Yeah.
And...
Valkyrie.
Yeah, oh man.
It was, I'm getting chills now. It was I would just want to go back and watch that scene.
Right.
Because you think, like, Cap looks defeated, and I think in that moment, he's like, I'm seeing my end. This is it. And he's so okay. Maybe not okay with it, but he's just accepted
Gave it my all.
This is it. And then all of a sudden they all come back. And the fight scene was good because you mentioned about the relay of passing of the Infinity Stone. So Hawkeye had it, and then Black Panther got it.
He was the person who took it out of the rubble. And I think it's important that it was one of the original Avengers. Mm-hmm. And then T'Challa, Black Panther, jumps in and is like, Clint, pass it to me.
How
did he know him, was my question. How do you know that was Clint? Because I don't think the two of them ever met. Maybe they had. Oh,
he was mind. Dust. He was Dust. He just came back.
But they met in Civil War somewhat.
Oh, yeah, because they fought. Okay, cool. Problem solved. Plot hole. Good job, Marvel. Although there was, and then who did it go to? Spidey and then eventually Cap.
When he got kind of tangled up. Mm-hmm. Then Spidey with his, like, I got this, I got this, I don't got this.
Oh my gosh. And then it was this scene where, again, I think Marvel was like, we're sorry. When Spidey's like, I can't get it to you because who was going to take it? Somebody was going to...
Captain Marvel
came
in and was the godsend, and she destroyed Thanos' ship.
But before that was the women scene.
Well, no, it was.
Oh,
who
were they trying
she
to?
Showed up.
Oh yeah. Because they were shooting, and then
they were shooting, and rocket.
When they were raining fire from this giant ship. Thanos made the order. They're shooting, and you couldn't hit a single person. Mm-hmm. I mean, they probably hit people that were.
I do love. You could tell it killed Thanos to give that order because he doesn't like doing things that blindly, but he knew there was no other choice because he knew he was on the ropes at that moment.
Because who had him?
Who did have him?
Scarlet Witch had him.
Scarlet Witch was like...
This is when the girl power arc happened. But Spidey's like, I can't... Am I going to make it to somebody? Who is he trying to get the stones to?
Well, he was trying to get the stones to the time... The
because they were going back in time. Yes. Because they were going to return the stones so that he couldn't get them. But then it was... We got it, and it was every single woman. And it was just at that point, it was like this plethora. Even like Pepper was there,
right?
And all of that, and it was amazing.
Which
like,
they had a scene like that in Infinity Wars where they had three of the women.
The women go, and like together. It was Scarlet Witch almost like the girls like, sorry boys, we almost had it. We were like, it just took a pissed off woman to finish the job where she was like, enough is enough. Scarlet Witch is like, I'm ending this. And that's when Thanos rained fire and shot everybody up. But it was kind of, I found it a little humorous. I thought it was good. And it was like,
it was cool.
We got this. But that was Marvel's, listen, we're sorry we didn't put Black Widow in. Remember the fuss about not putting Black Widow in like an action figure kit when the Avengers first came out? Like, listen, we're sorry. Look, women, here they are.
Oh, gosh.
There's all the women. But it was very, like, they kicked butt. Like, why didn't they let them run the show from the beginning?
Well, they kind of did. Because Black Widow was kind of the one.
Oh, she did.
She was kind of the lead behind a lot of this. Who runs the world? Mm-hmm.
Women with superpowers.
Mm-hmm.
Very nice. They're like, we didn't put any... And thank you. They learned from Wonder Woman when they did the Justice League, and they got ticked because all the Amazons were in bikinis in Justice League. Thank you for not putting them in impractical outfits to fight. Like, I've run in heels. It's uncomfortable. I'm also walked on unstable surfaces and in the grass in heels. Ain't nobody fighting to the death in heels.
Mm-hmm.
Unless you're ticked off at the club because somebody said something rude.
So, what did you think about the final confrontation between... It was Thanos with Captain Marvel, then Thanos and somebody else jumped in.
Did they? I thought it was just Captain Marvel at the end.
Was it Captain America tried one more time? No.
I don't know. I think it was
Captain
just
Marvel
Captain Marvel.
tried that confrontation,
but,
and then he took the Power Stone off and nailed her.
Yeah, it was Captain Marvel. But the fact
was cool.
that...
But then Tony's switcheroo.
The fact that he even asked Doctor Strange, you saw all of these endings, is this the one? And all he did was, like, hold up the finger, like, this is it.
Yeah. I loved that. Because I love those little emotional moments where he looked at him and was like, this is it. Because he mentioned during the fight, he said, is this the scene that you said? How's it end? And he said to him, if I tell you, it won't end how it's supposed to.
Yeah, but he just holds that finger up.
Mm-hmm.
So good.
Because I bet he did, when he saw this solution, I bet he did play out a scenario where he did tell Tony.
Yeah. Which it makes sense. That goes back to why he gave up the time stone at the beginning. They weren't going to win then. They had to win later. But that whole moment where Thanos thinks he still has the stones because Tony Stark, like, runs in and kind of does the magic Chris Angel trick where he steals the stones and he clicks it and he goes, I'm inevitable. And he, like, snaps his finger. And because we talked about it in the ride home, his last line was, yeah, and I'm Iron Man. Snap. Oh, that was so good.
Bone chilling.
Bone chilling. And then, of course, Tony was the ultimate sacrifice.
Yeah.
Which...
I'm a little...
I saw it coming.
I was thinking...
As soon as he had a kid and...
float away, and then he did, but throughout the movie, I just felt like they were setting up...
You knew it. Robert Downey Jr. has talked about stepping away, like, for logistics. He's talked about stepping away from this role, but as soon as the kid was there, I was like, yeah, your boy's toast.
He's toast. I did enjoy how they had him where he was essentially stroked out, which I think is really important because using all that power, there was like nothing left in him. And he got out like stumble of words, and I think it was sweet what Pepper said to him at the very end. And I think it's awesome that they had Rhodes there, his best bud from the beginning. They had Spidey, his protege.
And then they had her.
Pepper. And Pepper said to him, it's okay. You can rest now.
We'll be okay.
We'll be okay. She didn't say goodbye. She didn't say I love you. She
Which
just
is
said
just,
we'll be okay because
I think,
she knew that's what he needed to hear.
And that's
right
the
in
whole
that
arc of his character.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he felt guilty, going back all the way to Iron Man, he felt guilty about what he did with his weapons and they fell in the wrong hands, and then he's just been trying to continuously make up for this, and in the end it was the ultimate sacrifice and he did make up for it. But and then of course we had the funeral assemble, and that's where all the cameos come in. I want to know how much they paid Samuel Jackson to stand there, because you know he made money.
Oh yeah.
At Tony Stark's funeral. It was literally, sorry we couldn't give you a speaking line, you had nothing to do, but let's all gather and have the funeral assemble.
That was beautiful, having all the people. They even had, I think that was the
little boy from Iron Man 3. Yeah. He's like, I don't act anymore, but cool, I'll show up for a cool meal, whatever. Right. And then I did think for a moment when Captain America goes back with the stones at the end and they said, oh, he missed his timestamp because they couldn't get him back, I thought he just wasn't going to come back. And then when you saw, you know what I thought?
Right, I'm surprised they did have him actually come back.
I thought when he came back, when you saw it was a smaller silhouette, I thought he was going to come back as like the dweeby wimp. Like he wanted to give it all up. But it was much better, obviously, that they ended it with him going back and getting his life, where he stayed with
Agent Carter.
Yeah. I thought that was really fitting because truly, you know, we talk about Tony's arc of the guilt-driven and how that all fueled his narrative, but Cap was the ultimate sacrifice from the beginning. He never got a happy ending. He sacrificed what he could have had, and getting transplanted from the 40s to whenever the 2000s is...
You know who did get the raw end of that? Is I like him passing the shield off to Sam. That's great and everything. But Bucky, Bucky kind of, you can tell from the very beginning, before they sent him away the first
He
time.
knew.
I could tell he was like, he ain't coming back. He's
Yeah.
gonna stay. But I was really sad because maybe Bucky wanted to go with him to be with
Did Bucky
his
have
own,
a girl?
back to his own time. But back to his time and be his friend
No.
and live that life. And or maybe he wanted to be Captain America.
But how are you
so
gonna
poor Bucky was just standing there just like, yeah, I'm his best friend, but yeah, whatever.
But how do you send Bucky back with his cyborg arm to the 1940s?
Oh, true.
True.
He's a wonderful character. He's just so lovable.
But
and I do love all the little nods that he had with Cap. And in the end, I think they ended that movie beautifully with everybody saying their goodbyes, sending off Tony's heart,
Mm-hmm.
and then Cap getting his dance
Yeah.
when he said in
He
the
deserves
movie.
it.
Yeah, he said, I think we're going to have a rain check on that dance. And he fulfilled his promise there. It was so sweet.
So good. And then everybody, like the good little lemmings we are, waited till the closing scene. And
Yeah.
there's just a...
At the beginning of the credits, though, oh my gosh, what an homage to what they've created.
The
when
credits,
they
stay
had
for
the
the
original
credits.
6 with their signatures
Mhm.
and a little tiny thing. And of course, I don't know if you noticed, but I think the music built and actually got louder.
For the 6 originals.
So when it got to Iron Man, it was the loudest.
Yeah.
And it gives me goosebumps right
It's
now.
so
Here,
I
it was
would
so
eventually
great
like
playing
to
the
sit
Avengers
down
theme.
and try to get through all of them. That could be a podcast.
A week.
Day 48. Haven't moved from the couch. We've become one.
We're on Doctor Strange. I don't think we're gonna make
I
it.
don't like this one.
But yeah, they didn't have any mid-credit scenes. They didn't have any
No.
end-credit
It's
scenes.
over.
I love that.
It's
Somebody
over.
in our theater wanted to explain to everyone in the theater
Oh,
the
put it
significance
away.
of all that.
That
But
meant
it's like,
something.
Put it away. But I love which
It was a good
I'm
ending.
not 100% sure. I think a lot of people aren't 100% sure what they mean. What I wanted to mean was it was truly just an homage to
The
the
clanging,
MCU and the beginnings and Tony Stark. It was the clanging of the hammer to metal. It is truly them saying, it's been a great journey. We
Here's
are
the
going to
end.
continue, but here's to what we've created. And,
And
look
you
how
all,
far we've come.
deep down, we all knew that there was going to be an ending. People were going to sacrifice themselves. That's it. There's nowhere
Right.
else to go.
Yeah. Oh, it was such a beautiful ending.
What?
Just as much as I loved the ending of Infinity Wars for all like
The horrific
the
reasons.
horrific reasons, this had a great ending too. That's pretty much
Kind of our take.
our little take
Now
on the
let's
movie.
get into some quizzing and some fighting. Stick around. Okay, Kay, you picked the movie, so you get to quiz me. You're going to ask me 5 questions and see if I was paying attention.
Well, I came up with many questions.
5.
Okay, fine. 5 questions. Let's see if you can get these right. So,
Probably not.
roll the music. Okay.
Why is that sports? Wait, can I cheat? Can I have clues? Give me clues. Can
Can I have a clue?
I have a clue? Can
Yeah,
I stall?
I might give
I'm
you
good at
clues.
stalling. All right. Ask
All right,
me.
this is our first go about
stressful.
this, so
This is stressful.
feel free at home. You can try to give her the answers if you want, but the funny thing is that she can't hear you. Okay, here we go.
Rude.
All right, let's start a little bit easy.
Okay.
Where is Thanos from?
I don't know. Space?
Mm-mm.
Neptune. I don't know where he's from. He's from
What?
space. He's from space.
No. He
He's from
kind
a
of is from
galaxy
space.
far, far away.
Okay. He's from somewhere in our solar system, technically.
Neptune.
No.
Milky Way.
No.
Uranus.
I don't think so.
I don't know. Just Give me the
It's a moon in our solar system.
Oh, God. I don't... Listen, we signed up for astrology class, and I was confused when we weren't learning about the zodiacs because I thought we were in an astronomy class. Still whooped your butt.
I know.
But clearly I didn't retain anything.
That was so impressive.
Andromeda.
Okay, it's not Andromeda. But do you want the answer?
Yes.
All right. Thanos is from Titan.
Why didn't you just tell me AE and I would have known it?
Yeah. I don't know if it's supposed to be Titan as in the moon of Saturn, but that was just...
All right, next.
All right. Next question. You ready? This is another easier one. I'm curving it for you a little bit.
Rude. Doubt it. I played outside as a child.
Okay. What is the first film in the MCU universe that features the characters that were in Endgame?
All of them?
Not all the characters. Like, it could be just one character. But what's the first movie in the MCU universe?
The first movie was Iron Man, but that didn't feature all of them.
Ding, ding, ding!
But it didn't feature all of them.
I said it doesn't have to feature
That
all
was
of
a
them.
poorly constructed question. I will take my correct answer and then write you a strongly worded review on your course evaluation form.
Fine,
Next question.
You go right ahead. Okay, next question. What was the original title for Avengers Endgame when it was first announced in October of 2014?
Infinity Wars 2.
You got it! That's right. It was, well, half credit. No, I'll give you the whole credit. It's Infinity Wars Part 2.
I wonder how it's going to sound if I reach across the stage and smack you. Ugh. You're supposed to ask me questions about what happened in the movie.
Yeah. Well, no, that's a themed question.
No, it's not.
Here's another one for you. This one's a little tougher, okay? You want one from the movie? Here you go.
Frick.
What was the last piece of advice Thor's mom gave him before Rocket and him left the timeline? The last piece of advice.
Oh, it's not about being who you thought you were going to be, but it's about being who you are.
That's the first piece of advice he gave to him. She gave to him.
Oh, eat a vegetable?
I'll give it to you. She said, eat a salad.
Salad's the vegetable.
Okay. Last question.
I'm doing well. I only got one wrong.
I don't know. This is hard to pick one.
I'll let you ask me two more.
Two more?
Two more.
Okay.
Unless I get this one wrong. And then we're done.
Okay, let's go to this one. Okay.
Okay.
Who walks through the portals created by Doctor Strange first? I'll accept a person, or it was like a group.
The Wakandans? Black Panther?
Yeah. It was T'Challa and his sister, and what's her name? Michonne. That's not her name in this
I
one.
was like, nope.
Why do I keep forgetting her name?
All right, one more.
All right, one more question. This one comes from the Infinity Gauntlet comics.
No, that's not the movie.
Yes.
That's not the movie. No, this is a movie.
But what's
No.
the name of this?
No.
What's the name of the segment? Were you
Were
paying
you paying
attention?
attention to the movie?
I told you the answer to this before.
No. I paid
Okay.
attention to the movie,
Okay.
not to you yapping. No.
Okay, we did our 5 questions. This is the bonus question.
No, it's not. No.
If
no.
you get this one right,
No.
you win.
No.
All the monies. Okay, ready?
No. It's cheating.
Okay.
It's like going to take an astrology test and they make you talk about quantum mechanics. A bonus question. Bonus my ass. No. I won. Moving on. I'm the winner.
You won. Okay, that last bonus question is for those of you out there who want to answer this. Who is Thanos in love with in the Infinity Gauntlet comics?
Oh, death.
See? You made such a big ordeal about
Because
it.
you're not being ethical.
But you were paying attention.
Good. So when it's my turn to pick a movie and I'm going to ask you questions, I'm going to ask you questions about the Declaration of Independence.
The answer
And
to
we're
that
not watching Independence
the
Day.
answer to that question was Mistress Death or Lady Death in the comics. She
Fitting,
gives him a
'cause
hard
I'm feeling
time.
very mistressy deathy right now.
And he's just trying to impress her. You know what? I'm just going to stop.
You should.
But you did pretty good.
Oh, was it my final score? Can't remember.
What was your final score?
I got one wrong.
All right, now that we talked about the movie, we're going to go into a segment we'd like to call I Hate It When They Fight. All right, so the idea behind this segment, every time somebody watches a movie, there's always something that they're very adamant about. And when it comes to movies, it's fun to debate certain topics. And sometimes you can convince the other person, sometimes not. And we want to get you guys involved in this too, so go ahead and pick a side. Pick who you love more. It's just only going to break the other person's heart.
More? Is that really where you went with this? 'Cause
Yeah.
clearly it's me.
We're playing for keeps. So how this works is we're going to go through a question, and we're each going to get 30 seconds to say our point without the other person interrupting.
What do you
Mainly,
mean like that?
maybe it would be me interrupting you, is what I'm trying to say. And then we will have 2 minutes of a back and forth where we might get a little heated. Ooh.
There are children.
Think of the children. Good Lord. And then at the end of that segment, we'll each have a time period to rebuttal. The person who
I'm gonna rebut you.
offers the question will extend an offer to his opponent for a 10-second rebuttal, and then the person who offered the question will get a 5-second rebuttal to
All right,
put in their
enough
final
of the
thoughts.
logistics. Let's just do this. You get to start first. 30 seconds on the clock. On your mark, get set.
All right, so in Endgame, I was kind of disappointed on how Thanos' character was played out. He was an amazing Titan and played so well in Infinity Wars, and I think they really let down his character because of his arc in Infinity Wars was ended so quickly at the beginning of the movie when that version of Thanos, his head was chopped off and his arm, Star Wars reference, and we didn't get to go into that character anymore, and it was really sad.
1, done.
Aww.
Boy, you're not good at debating. You didn't get anything in.
I said my point.
Your point, that's it. All right, fine. Mine.
Okay.
Ready? It was a different Thanos. That was his arc. He got what he wanted, and then he realized that sometimes you don't always get what you want. And then he was upset. He did what he needed to. He killed his daughter, the only daughter he really cared about, because screw Nebula, let's be honest. He didn't like her. And then he was done. So then they went back. They needed a big baddie, so they went back and got the mean one. That's it. He doesn't need a bigger arc than that. They had to go back and fight him. What are you going to do, fight Melancholy one? That's not going to work.
All right. Let's get it on.
2 minutes. On the
2
clock.
minutes on the clock. All right. Well, first off, you're wrong.
Why am I wrong? Wait, like you saying that they don't do Thanos justice. His character was over.
Okay. I guess to move the plot along,
What is he
they
going to
did
sit down
have
and
to.
have him all over for tea? I think I might have made a mistake.
What I just didn't like is past Thanos that was in the later part of the movie. He had no remnants of that.
Because he
Side
was
of himself.
past Thanos.
I guess
He
that's kind of
wasn't
true.
future. Guess it was kind of true. They went time traveling years and years into the past. That was still ruthless Thanos that wanted the stones to snap and kill them all. It wasn't the I learned a lesson. It's that whole idea of like the little kid that's like, I want to eat 12 Hershey bars for dinner. And then they eat it and they throw up. They're not going to be the same. You go back to the 12 Hershey bar kid.
Well, just even how they got rid of the past Thanos, like in the end, how he just faded away. I was kind of hoping they would do something with that Thanos to show you some remnants of who he was.
Yeah, but if they would have
They
given
did
you any
show him a
more,
little
you
relationship
wouldn't have
of
cared about
Gamora.
the bad one. Think about that from a director's and a writer's point of view. If they would have given you any more insight into good Thanos, you wouldn't give two flying flip nuggets about bad past Thanos coming up. You'd be like, oh, well, he had a change of heart, so maybe they should just talk to him because he has a good side. No!
But it was this
Chop
amazing.
it!
amazing arc that when he went back and was in the Soul Stone and he was talking to little Gamora, I was hoping in this movie we'd investigate that character even more and see that battle a little bit more.
This is not Age. This is Avengers, not Thanos's.
Oh, but it should have been. They said Thanos will return at the end of Infinity Wars.
And
it was a story about him.
Twice. He returned twice. 2 different versions
And
of
I'm
it.
not asking for him not to be a bad character. I'm just asking for them to make a little more of an attempt to refer to that turn he had in Infinity Wars.
No.
So that was 2 minutes. Okay. So
How long's my rebuttal?
we need a judge, Millie.
She left us.
Oh, there she is.
She's on my side.
Oh, she has chosen.
Yeah, it's chosen.
So we each get time frame to rebuttal. Since you are the guest to this question, and I had some time to think about on the car ride home, I will give you the 10-second rebuttal to convince all the listeners why you're right. Okay, ready? Go.
They needed a bad guy. He had his whole arc. You felt for him in Infinity Wars. Then they had to get the show on the road. Are you done?
They what? They what?
They had to get the show on the road.
All right. I get a 5-second rebuttal. You ready?
It's not Avengers Age of we feel bad for Thanos.
Hey, your rebuttal's over.
You weren't looking. All right, you get 5 seconds.
You snuck in that audio. All right.
5 seconds. And Mark can say, now.
Thanos is Lord. That's all I need. He's a lovable character.
He has a back for a chin.
And what's wrong with that?
And the whole time, all the movies.
You can't say back. There might be kids listening to this.
Let's be honest, nobody's listening to this.
We hope you are.
I'm not listening to us.
I wasn't talking to you. I was talking to them.
All right, so we're going to wrap up that section, considering now that Kay is seeing or hearing things. Let us know, did Thanos get what he needed, or did he get what he deserved? Because we needed to move the story along.
Yeah, hit us up on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram.
Do we have all of those?
No, but we will. Let us know what your thoughts are. Who do you think is more right? Feel free to jump into the debate. You can pop in a big comment. We'll read it. It'll be fun.
Pop in a big comment. That sounded dirty. Moving on!
Kids! Okay, like all good things, everything must come to an end.
Is this a good thing? Has
Even
this been a good thing?
The MCU. Phase 3, 2?
Yes, but it's Disney, so they're going to milk that cash
Oh,
until
yeah.
it runs dry.
Yeah, this isn't the end for them.
Well, how are you going to rate this movie, Kay?
Thinking about it here, I obviously very much enjoyed it.
It was
Great
really
action
good.
movie. But if
Had
I
heart,
had...
had soul. I'm not going to go through the time stones and try to get a pun in there, but it really did have... It made you laugh, made you cry, made you nervous. There was the ultimate sacrifice.
Yeah.
There was triumph over good.
So,
Wait, no, triumph over evil. Whoops, sorry.
So if you had to say in one phrase your rating for this movie.
I would give this a solid Dude Thor abides.
Oh. That's good.
I know.
Well, I would have to say it was a marvelous time. Oh,
That's
I
really-
get it.
That's really where you... That's what we want to leave our, let's face it, one listener with.
Thanks, Barry.
All right, well, tune in next time as we discuss, debate, ponder, and question our marriage on
Go
what
down
should
this journey we call love.
Uh-huh. Tune in to the next episode of What Should We Watch Next?
What should we watch next, Dee?
Well, I think we should jump on the bandwagon of time traveling and pine sol particles. And I'm going to pull out... I'm going to pull out one of my personal favorites. Dirty Dancing.
Ooh, all right. Well, check us out next time. Thanks for joining us. Hope you have a great day. All right, Millie, you want to go say bye? You want to say bye? Who would say bye to?
The fictitious...
That was so sad. What do you have to say about the movie?
What do you think? Did you like the movie? Did you like the movie?
She's like, you didn't invite me.
We can't bring you to a theater.
We'll bring you to the next
That's
one.
what we should have is puppy theaters. I think she liked the movie, and I think it's time for us to bid you all adieu.
All right, everybody. Thanks for stopping by. We hope you had a fun time listening to us. Make sure to check us out next time. Have a great day. Bye!
I want to go make a taco.